opponents, you can be quite heavily punished for it. And as we go into the flyout, we look to get things underway, Cthulhu. Honestly, this one is going to be a huge one to kick the night off.
Absolutely. The match to possibly wrap up the last position in the playoffs bracket could certainly be a huge decider. Good luck, have fun. Grumpy Grapes to start things off on the defense attack for Radical Rebels. It is looking to be like Grumpy Grapes could actually kick their match off with a nice initial point advantage, given that the defense does usually favor here in Women's League.
Exactly it, and as we carry on through, Jackal going to be the first ban. No real surprises there. It's a pretty stock standard one when it comes to ANZ Siege. You want to be able to rely on those roamers just a little bit more, give yourself some extra freedom, and that's exactly what we see coming out already for the Grumpy Grapes.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, Jackal out of the equation would certainly make things a whole lot easier for roam to happen, for even just for all the anchor players, because having less utility that makes you just go fidgety all around the defense position certainly makes things a whole lot easier. Radical Rebels, though, do acknowledge how powerful we'll talk about Fuse later. Pulse can be, especially on the vertical play with the C4s, and well, with him out of the equation, that's one of the FBI operators gone. Last one is going to be Cade, funnily enough. So Mira is actually on board, which will make the defense even more powerful. And with Cade out of the equation, look, it's just back to just very basic breach denial, like Bandit, like Mute, or better yet, just play for the post breach.
I think Pulse might be sending an email to Human Resources after the last couple of messages we saw in all chat, but there is some fans of Pulse already, and must be remembered, we are playing the final play here under the new season, so there are a couple of minor changes which could come into effect today.
Yes, also true, yeah. The bulletproof cameras are now changed about. There were a few balancing changes coming through, and honestly...
Well, even the Maestro cams, believe it or not.
Yes.
So you can't shoot the laser, but you could still rotate them around. So that's so much free information. Cass has unfortunately crashed, so we will have to wait for... Yeah, unlucky. It does happen. But, I mean, look, coming into play... honestly, I'm just genuinely intrigued to see how this new season is going to play out here to close the stage.
Hey, look, I mean, we already got to get our hands on the new season as well. Jamming around in casual. I managed to already die at least once to Thorn's mines. The fun times. But honestly, look, I'm more so curious about how will really the gunfights in the utility game go, because I am expecting a lot of shift towards those bulletproof cameras, say over something across the lines of even of maybe barbed wire or even proximity sensors, and from there on maybe playing for just as horrible as it sounds, even more utility, which will make attackers' life even more difficult, because not only you have to deal now with what, so we can use the fingers to count. Well, my magnets, Jaeger devices, Mute Jammers, and Mozzie, I'll put this under the same category. The ballistic shields, barbed wire. Now, bulletproof cameras, they can EMP your drone, so technically Twitch can be countered straight off the bat. Maestro cameras that are now rotating around. Well, with the current ban's Mira as well. This is
Cthulhu, there's one thing that you haven't even touched on. The changes to guns. The Roni has received a bit of a buff. Ash is back. We know that much for sure. This season is going to be wild. I'm genuinely curious to see whether or not we see players lean back into Ash now that the R4C is, well, back within wilderness status. I mean, before she was an
R4C
beast.
Been buffed?
The R4C. It's old Ash. We are back to old Ash territory.
Oh, Christ.
He's not going to help you here, I'm sorry.
Yeah, look, I don't think anything will really help me here. Just remembering the ye old days of just crouched walking, pushing Ash from literally other side of the map, and then in the early meta when Ash's R4C also had an ACOG, genuinely, look, a few certain cosplays of a certain musician did want it to be performed.
Well,
I'm not going to say that because it's just far too deep into the memes.
Well, look, we're getting into things. Round 1 coming into play here. You can already see Grumpy Grapes looking to get themselves rounds on the board early. They're heading to split. They're looking for that trophy statuary positioning. In cast, they bring in the castle. They're looking to close down some of those angles. They got that Wemai that you were talking about. There is a lot of utility burn coming in for the Grumpy Grapes.
Yeah, so even in Grumpy Grapes' situation here, you have Goyo to burn, you have the Ballistic Shield of Yoshi to burn, Serenity's Mute Jammers, actually no, scratch that, Mute Jammers can heck off, Novelwick's Magnet Charges, Castles and Castle Barricades. You have so many things that you need to either get past by or just completely destroy, and given that, really, you might even need to start dipping into the utility of Ace with the Selma Charges. By the time they make it into the actual site, not a whole lot of things could really be performed. Serenity has the golden opportunity here to just absolutely ambush their opposition and just completely deny the push, but it seems like her position is being completely evaded. Was she spotted, though?
Yeah, I think you'd have to imagine. Yeah, I mean,
no, but
smart,
there was a mute jammer. There
Yeah.
was a mute jammer, though, by that door, so I don't think she actually fell into the field of view, because you look at Korvais, she's absolutely clueless. Mystique is also there. Aussie Ash has not even scouted one more time. So they are cautious about it. They don't want to push it, but they're not particularly aware that there is a shotgun ready to blast.
Yeah, I think experience would tell you that there is probably someone in that position, but for actual concrete knowledge, yeah, I don't think it is there right now. Mouse one going hard, but Yoshi playing behind him. No. Yoshi, how is Yoshi alive? Still a 90!
No way.
Dave! She's gotten away with daylight robbery. She's gotten away with daylight robbery, and they're about to take Ash as well, but Serenity runs out of ammo, tries to run back into that aviator room, and unfortunately it's not going to be achieved at all.
You could hear in the background the yelling of poor Serenity after she could not get the frag with the whole mag of SMG-11, just trying to run back. And unfortunately, it just doesn't look too good. Neither it is for Zero Prince, who just got absolutely bulldozed by the vector of Burnabear. And at this point, well, it's all down to Aussie Ash and Allura Viola. And Aussie Ash barely has any HP. Allura still has most of the HP, plus the AK-12, plus the Selma Charges. So theoretically, you still have all of the bare bones utility to just still commence the push, but against 4 people, it is going to be rather difficult.
Well, it should be at that. Honestly, this is getting pretty tense at the moment. There is a lot that could give in the moment, but in a 4 versus 2, with the health advantage squarely in the favour of the Grumpy Grapes, they should be able to pick this. Yoshi might even bag herself a triple. No, it's Nova chiming in with their first kill, and Burnabear bags a double, so double for Burner and Yoshi, and unfortunately no triple for either of them.
Aye. Well, despite all of that, it's still a dub for Grumpy Grapes, which does make things a whole lot nicer, a whole lot better to kickstart their matchup, especially after the fact that there were a few technical difficulties prior to that. But here we are going to be going into AVG now that GG managed to defend Trophy Statuary quite successfully. And going into this one, the only change that we are really seeing, well, 2 changes that we are seeing now, with Serenity bringing in the Melusi, and then Cass bringing in the Valkyrie. Well, hopefully she locks in the Valkyrie. Apart from that, same operators for the rest of the team. And look, I rate this, the introduction of Melusi. I would imagine there's also the bulletproof cameras possibly coming into the play, which on the 90 hallway, say somebody is droning and you can reinforce the position. EMP the drones, look, you won't be at least live drone then, which makes things a whole lot easier, but instead, no, we don't really have any bulletproof cameras. Instead, it's a bunch of impact C4s and a single set of the proximity alarms.
Well,
so much theory crafting, all for nothing.
Yeah, look, a very successful first round for the Grumpy Grapes in their defensive split. Now heading over to the other side of the map. They're looking to do something very, very similar. Serenity, obviously, having picked off the mute here, and now playing on the Melusi, which, I mean, realistically should be able to contest a little bit more comfortably, but hopefully she now has to rely less on the fixed capacity mag.
Yeah, the fixed capacity mag could be a solid idea. Solid play, rather. But look, Panda, whilst we are in a bit of a calm before the storm, I have a question for you. How do you counter Thorn?
Well, you don't have to. She's not in play, Cthulhu. Read the rulebook. Jeez.
No, but you have to ruin the joke. God damn it.
How do you counter Thorn, Cthulhu?
Just walk away from it, Lamau.
I mean, yeah, look, not wrong. Technically.
It's in the...
The team up for 2, Cass with a headshot and Burner with a nitro cell. Don't answer the call, folks. Don't do it.
Don't answer the call. Not in Siege, at least. In saying that, and unfortunately for RDC, this means that 2 players short, Nomad and Zofia out of the equation, which makes the soft breaching job just that more difficult. And without still not really clearing out any kind of positions at Astro, that's 1. In comes 2. No, not yet. Gotta quickly reload, pull the bolt, and go in for another swing, which possibly could net yet another frag, but instead it's Serenity that picks up that one. Allure out of the equation, and meanwhile Zero Prince is on a completely opposite side of the map, looking to pull a cheeky flank.
Yeah, Radical. I mean, Burner Bear, she's got herself 2 doubles in the first 2 rounds of play. Zero Prince alone, isolated away from the diffuser. There's only so much you can do in the situation. There is still a minute 20 to play, though. So, she's being hunted. She's being hunted. They know. Serenity knows. Yeah. Serenity knows! Oh, no! It's about to be a bait and switch. Serenity... No, Serenity does... Okay, she does know. Okay, hopefully we'll get more information on... No. Okay, she just walked past, turned around. Oh, there we go. Hello.
Well then. A bit of a spook, I would imagine, for Serenity as well. You know, walking about and all of a sudden, oh hey, that's a wild IQ. Right then and there, droning out. Look, Dining Kitchen is now upon us. Tertiary site usually is the site that quote-unquote gets forfeited to the attacking team, but we've seen quite a lot of teams actually nearly make this their primary site, the one that pretty much becomes even more impenetrable compared to all the previous 2 that we just seen. And, well, I was about to, go for yet another Theorycraft tangent with the castle, but that's not going to be the case. Instead, it's much more flexible. Introduction of Valkyrie, C4s galore, Chanka with the place denial, probably nowadays even more flexible than even Smoke.
Yeah, a lot of teams really favouring him now. They've figured out how to set him up. And, I mean, Burner, honestly, has just been a thorn in the side. They need to find some way to shut her down. Yoshi as well, deathless. In fact, only a single player from Grumpy Grapes has died going into round 3, that being Serenity after that minor misplay with the Mutant Study. But, I mean, I did say that was the biggest concern coming into this matchup, is Radical Rebels could not afford to let Grumpy Grapes dictate the pace of Villa, and that's exactly what's happening.
That's something that a lot of teams, as a matter of fact, have quite a few occasional issues, but in the case of Radical Rebels, it's just through and through. Unfortunately for them, Grumpy Grapes are just able to enforce this pacing, enforce this playstyle, and really not a whole lot of response from RDC, despite the fact that we are seeing them at least attempt the pushes in a rather coordinated manner. It's just unfortunately those off picks that do happen just don't get refragged, they don't get punished in any shape or form, and in that downtime between the reloads as well, no pushes happening. Therefore, well, the aggression is kind of being trampled on by the defense, which disallows really the attack of Radical Rebels to do really anything.
Yeah, there just seems to be an answer every single round, every single play that Radical Rebels are going for. Grumpy Grapes seem to understand and adapt on the fly. But, I mean, it's early enough in this map that Radical Rebels could look to bounce it back. Of course, a couple of frags going their way could translate into a big round win for them. The only problem being, of course, if it doesn't come soon, it may not come at all.
Exactly. With third point possibly on the contention for Grumpy Grapes, they are looking to extend the lead even further, whereas on the side of RDC, they want to get as close as possible to equalizing, and Quanvise has the potential to go into that gunfight, but there's already an inkling that there's going to be a swing from that bike room, and Burner Bear has the perfect understanding of that. But in saying that, Radical Rebels has already fallen back. They are looking to try to, go for a bit more of the utility down before they even make the entry into the side, and rightfully so, they want to cut off all of the rotations, minimize the amount of engagements that they have to go through whilst being on the side, and that is exactly what they're looking to do so, but Cass has some other plans in that regard.
That's a cheeky little angle there. Unfortunately, Mystique caught off guard. We are starting to see why they're bringing the Tachanka here in this round. Being able to open those angles with the DP just means that you can contest from longer range. Aussie Ash runs the Gemini into sight, but Yoshi shooting it out will give that information that there are attackers in close proximity to the site right now.
Absolutely. Looking to start collapsing relatively soon with 50 seconds remaining. Some action needs to start happening, and already a jump into the art room. The push into the site is about to commence from the laundry as well, and Serenity will have to help the teammates with Yoshi already picking up the first frag of the push.
Zero Prince falls as well.
Man.
It's just more of these angles that Grumpy Grapes are taking control of right now. Radical Rebels, they're just being outmaneuvered at every single turn. Corvice being taken heavy. Serenity pinching in from the flank, finds Aussie Ash down to a single gridlock, and unfortunately another flawless round goes the way of Grumpy Grapes.
Jeez, Grumpy Grapes are just being absolutely positively dominating here, and really no chance being given to RDC, no matter how much they tried and no matter how much they want to get it. Well, wanting is one thing, getting to the actual dub, even within the first round, is unfortunately completely the other thing. And for RDC, it's a bit of a tall order at the moment. Yet another switch is actually coming about for the attacking side, and that is the introduction of Zero, which would actually help quite a fair bit. Or Pause is being called in, hopefully, maybe.
Cass is having a bit of a struggle at the moment, so hopefully we should get that pause in a moment. No,
or not.
Never
Okay,
mind. All good. So,
I mean, Nuttery wasn't really listening anyways.
No surprises there.
No surprises there. Yeah, look. Man's in another dimension, really, probably.
Man's probably straight vibing.
Oh. All chat's been opened up. Hello. Yeah, we have awoken. But no, despite us talking trash about Nuttery, shout out to the gamer, absolutely phenomenal unit. But for Radical Rebels, yes, to get back to that whole discussion, the introduction of Zero could really help. That is, again, if Zero will be essentially carried through the first half of the map to get close to the site, use those Argus cameras to scout out the whole site, make sure that they checking all of those, itty-bitty small angles that the defenders could tuck themselves in, because that could be the absolute pain in the butt once things do get down to the actual action.
Most definitely. Well, at the moment, a 3-0 start. That's looking pretty phenomenal for the Grumpy Grapes. You look at the players again. 2 flawless rounds so far, and still only that single death. Yoshi is 5-0-1. Bernabes 4-0-1. Between them, like that it's 9 unanswered kills. That's truly unfortunate.
There's been already a mention that the whole of Grumpy Grapes team already went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frags, and that is already a good improvement. Serenity about to go in for the swing.
You take that.
Surely, the swing comes about. Surely she's the one to swing.
Pre-fight.
Oh.
She's showing some immense patience there, not overcommitting to this swing. And Mystique's looking the wrong way. Yeah, I think this is the right place for Serenity. If she swings here, she is more likely than not going to go down to the trade. But no drones again, because of that mute jammer in play. Aussie Ash, if she relocates the drone through the vault, she should find 1, if not 2. The swing there, Yoshi! How are you alive? Shotgun in hand, sees the player, not quite connecting. Yoshi will go down. Do they know that Serenity is there in close proximity, though? Because this could quickly spiral out of control. Oh! No,
the swing comes about. Gemini. That's 1 pump, 2 pump, 3 pump. No, neither of these do connect. RDC finally on the board in a much better situation than Grumpy Grapes. First time in 4 rounds.
Now, 2-player advantage. Yoshi and Serenity fall. Bernabé still has that chance to keep her health bar nice and full right now. But if things are to carry on with that same trajectory, we could see this one swing back in favour of Grumpy Grapes in a single moment. They've got some incredibly competent fraggers who have just been able to outplay Radical Rebels till now.
Indeed, but it's not over yet either With 50 seconds remaining, the swings may just come about. Bernabe is still alive. Novawig just picked up a frag for herself, making it a 3v4 with 42 seconds remaining. It's now up to Grumpy Grapes to keep on equalizing this. Now it's a 3v3 with 35 seconds remaining.
With that, we do see Burner hit the 5-0 mark. Aussie looking for a swing. Novawig tucked in behind the statue is in a position where she could be pinched. Spots Aussie, who had no idea that there was a Wemai tucked in behind the statue. Zero walking on the side, about to meet her again. Novawig, it's actually stolen away from her by Cass, who finds the closer. Grumpy Grapes have somehow stolen the round back. Absolute daylight robbery.
Just as we were thinking that, yeah, look, this is the round that RDC do take. This is where they go and just flat out get it. Well, unfortunately, it was unfortunately for them, very fortunately for Grumpy Grapes, it's them who just get it, make it nice and solid 4-0 scoreline. And in saying that, well, the best case scenario really for RDC here is copying 2 rounds in a row, making it a 4-2 scoreline, and then start their comeback train once they are on the defense. Because if anything goes the way of, say, 5-1, 6-0, it is going to be a very dire situation. And, well, for Radical Rebels, I hate to put it this way, really, they don't have a whole lot of things to really lose, because unfortunately for them, the playoffs position has been already locked out. Really, the only thing that they can play here is for the fun factor, 1, and 2, for the upset, if they really want it. But at the moment, it's Grumpy Grapes who are much more persistent on that task to get themselves over into the top 4 position, where again, there's going to be quite a lot of contention, given that, well, for VA, they will need to make sure that they nail their game against Overt, and even then, it may end up coming down to a tiebreaker.
At the moment, again, it's still a case of these rounds are being well and truly dictated by the Grumpy Grapes. I mean, just every single play that we've seen out of them has been one to take control. The way that they're setting themselves up on the map, they know exactly what the game plan is. They are not compromising it for an instant.
Not at all. No compromising, none of that. It's all ready to roll. And well, for Grumpy Grapes, they're about to, well, get back onto their own train, fully set up site for accepting and inviting the attackers to come inside, but not for the team. Well, it's more so just for lead trade-off, and usually that involves a whole lot of pain as well. But for RDC, they are looking to stir up some ruckus around the 90 hallway straight off the bat, whilst applying some pressure from the Master Bedroom. But in Master Bedroom push, they have the Valkyrie and Bernabe as well on the Goyo to contest in Astro. On the other side of the 90 hallway, there's, well, Serenity that is holding a long angle with the SMG-11, so there's already hurdles from the very beginning.
Explosions galore. Mystique taking a huge chunk of damage from Bernabe's Nitro Cell. It's not enough to find the kill, but it will surely set her up for this push now. Pre-fight, not going to net anything just yet, but a lot of time being wasted, a lot of hesitation being funneled into the Radical Rebels. Unfortunately, they can't take these gunfights on their own terms because Grumpy Grapes won't let them.
But in the moment you say that, it's Novawig who takes just a large chunk of damage, borderline sending her already to the grave. But with just about 1 HP, she's looking to keep on contesting against Zero Prince, who may not be just yet fully aware of just the sheer amount of damage that has been dealt. And finally, Allura Viola does get the frag against Bernabe, shuts down that flawless streak that she managed to acquire.
Serenity answers back immediately. They lose the buck and some of that vertical threat, but Novawig and Cass tentatively holding on to that flawless streak for themselves at the moment. When they go down, that will be every single member having died at least. The once Mystique pushes on towards the landing, will rotate back, look to set up some of those Rotero drones, and with a cam placed towards Classical, Radical Rebels can start to get that key information going.
And there we go, already the Argus camera is starting to come into the play, trying to make sure that they are nailing their own all positions with Cask on as well. Novawig barely on any HP. Things are certainly now looking dire for GG, and, well, Radical Rebels might just finally be able to score themselves the point, which is very much needed right now. 29 seconds on the line. The breach is starting to come about. This is where the action happens.
More avenues being opened up. You look at the shotguns in play, and both members wielding the M590s incredibly healthy. Well, that's Mystique to fall. What more can they find? There is a player just on the other side of that wall. Yoshi traded back immediately by Allura. Swinging around, Corvice holding the angle, Serenity shut down. Novawick with a point of health. And unfortunately, it's not going to be done. Radical Rebels finally get themselves on the board. A hard-fought slog to get there.
There we go. Wrapping it up. Definitely a much nicer performance. Took them a little bit to get warmed up and get prepared and keen. But they are finally on the board. 3 more rounds if they do want to equalize it all out. But the best case scenario, like I said, for this very half is a 4-2. So one more win that is needed for Radical Rebels to feel just a little bit closer to the comfort zone, and well, from there on it's all their game to keep on being dictated. Aviator Room and Games is a repick, finally now, from Grumpy Grapes, as they do realize that things could have been done slightly better, and Bernabear switches off the Goyo now in favor of Vigil, realizing how much the drone game has improved from the side of RDC, so saying that a bit more of a emphasis on the personal roam game rather than supporting certain reinforced positions off-site, which is a solid idea. Plus, the introduction of the Rooney with her Surya Gates now will require any form of projectile utility to be now used to essentially drain it out and open it up to be able to walk in without taking any personal damage. So for Radical Rebels, they'll slightly change the amount of hurdles, but again, they now have introduced just about enough utility to be brought on board to just open up the site, get themselves inside of it, get the plant, and then hold it on.
5 seconds left before
exactly. In the final round of the half, you look at the guns and the operators being brought on the side of the defense. Grumpy Grapes again looking to play out for their aggression, looking to dictate the pace, and with Bernabear on the Vigil. And the way that she's been playing that Goyo as well, I think, is indicative of what you could expect in this round. She's looking to play aggressively. She's looking to determine what, where those points of ingress are for the Radical Rebels, and looking to shut it down.
It does already has the point of just bail out, set up, and ready to get away from any unfavorable kind of situation, but instead looks to start actually going for a contest at the 90 hallway. Mystique is about to start making a pressure all the way at the main staircase, with already some information being there, but information is slightly delayed, or rather outdated. But still, presence nonetheless is there at the top of the stairs, which is going to be proven to be quite difficult to manage and to deal with. And instead, the rest of the other team will look to go in for the push, but so is Bernabear as well.
Cass finding the kill on Mystique, finds the kill on Zero as well, with the side arm answered back in the form of Bernabear, but it is only a single kill to the 2, and a bit that were picked up by the Grumpy Grapes in their final defensive round. They are looking to take some big control, and you can see Radical Rebels now a little hesitant to even push into the building, knowing the resistance that awaits them.
Absolutely. Tall order on top of them to try to get it back into their control, into their pace. This is going to be proven rather to be quite difficult. Yet another Argus camera coming about. Allura is just doing her best to make sure that she just gets as much information as possible for any kind of swings, but with those angles being set up, Yoshi could certainly behead any of her opponents, and that is a dangerous prospect given just how early and how eager the defense is to just start contesting against the attackers and not allowing them to even make an entry into the building.
That's exactly it. Novawick with that angle, trying to deny anyone coming in the study door. Corvice going to push up main stairs, but the procs alarm gives it away. Corvice wins that gunfight, though. That's exactly the sort of start you're looking for in that comeback in round 6. Unfortunately, though, they've still got to find 3 more.
I'll grab us some intel.
As well, with 40 seconds remaining, Allura has taken quite a fair bit of damage from those gas grenades. Oh no, just one more tick away from dying. That is not what you want right now, especially given the fact that Corvice is also tagged up, but with Cass down, this is good. This is a good start for Radical Rebels, but with the time is of the essence.
The SAS duo coming into play here. Serenity looking to get a bit aggressive. Yoshi still there in the vault. It will be Allura the first to fall in the final flurry. 2 versus 2. Aussie Ash as well being threatened. Serenity pulls out the shotgun. It's going to be all over Red Rover. Grumpy Grapes close out the half. A dominant 5-1 showing.
Well. Grumpy Grapes certainly are looking quite keen and ready to push this into their territory to just brute force themselves into the playoffs bracket, and that's something that they could quite easily do, because at this point they'll be quite keenly awaiting for the overt game to wrap up, because this is their opponents, the team that also is currently actually is also on 9 points, looking to bring the upset to overt, push themselves into that playoffs bracket, go for that tiebreaker contention, which is going to be quite important off the back of the round count differential. And that's something that we'll definitely need to consult with all of the stats at a later date. But for the time being, 5-1, definitely quite a frustrating scoreline to finish the first half on for Radical Rebels.
When the comeback starts now, if they want to get themselves back into it, and I mean, Villa, it is a map that can lean more to the defender side of things. They look to kick their campaign off on Aviator Games, of course, the stock standard in terms of opening bomb sites. But you look at Bernabear, that's definitely the one that I'm intrigued by. We see them coming into play from day dot, looking to get that aggression going, that mysticism, I suppose, would be the best way to describe it.
Mysticism indeed. Look, Nook definitely makes you question certain reality, especially once you can't really hear any footsteps or any kind of approach from the operator himself. But certainly I'm quite keen to see what Bernabear could do, because her roam game so far has been really good. She has the potential to just absolutely bring that upset, completely shut things down, divert the attention of the defense to a whole different position, and allow the rest of the attacking team to really go in for goal. So, in saying that, GG already kickstarting their push, kickstarting their offensive. Mystique is looking for a run out, which is going to be extremely dangerous if not accounted for.
That early aggression from Mystique could have paid dividends there. Unfortunately, it's not to be. We'll have to play a little bit more passive for the moment. The last thing you want to do, especially in a situation if you are Radical Rebels, is to be able to be giving away those early picks. Serenity and the IQ, splitting up the gadgetry, looking to clear it out from below, and Bernabear looking to be this unseen force of will against Radical Rebels defense. And we could see the player elbow spotted, goes for the shot. Unfortunately, missed opportunity there.
Aussie Ash nearly nails a solid headshot onto Bernabear with that pre-fire, but unfortunately can't really find anything. Instead, it's a gunfight against, well, Cass, but neither of them do come off with as a successor. Instead, it's Serenity that cops an L from Mystique.
On the hunt, knowing full well that there is presence downstairs, so they are going to be hunting to try and flush whoever is in the vicinity out. The dual roam down in the basement as Core Vice does fall. So Grumpy Grapes, they lose one, but they take one back, immediately cast the frag grenade into the vault. Almost takes out Zero. Allura found as Yoshi bags himself a double. Bernabear playing red stairs, catches Aussie Ash unawares, and all of a sudden, things are spiraling wildly out of control for the Radical Rebels.
Absolutely. Zero Prince is solo on the side. There is a roam happening, but now it's a retake from Mystique. 1v4. Yoshi's just off the hook with that AK, and at the moment it's just pure and sheer domination from Grumpy Grapes.
Coverage is vast and widespread. Yoshi 10-2. They see the Velvet Cams, the swing. It's not good enough. Mystique loses out to Burner, who pushes her team onto match point. Cthulhu. This could be absolute domination. We said this is likely one of the more likely results that could come of this matchup.
Yeah, I've initially had the inkling that we could have had a close game, and that is for Radical Rebels to win if they would have pulled off, well, a slightly better performance. Unfortunately for them, it's just Grumpy Grapes are just a one step ahead of them for quite a fair few rounds, which is rather quite unfortunate. But look, it is what it is. That's the nature of the competitive side of Rainbow Six Siege. And for Grumpy Grapes, look, I gotta commend them. They've been performing absolutely a stunning work to so far just keep on pushing themselves into that top 4 position, get themselves into the playoffs, and from there on start the actual grind time to play for the finals.
They want that spot. They can just feel it, how close they are right now. Trophy, statuary on the cards next. What could be the final bomb site of the map right now. And Radical Rebels I mean, this is the one. This is the one that they need to find success on.
Absolutely. No more chances, no more retries. This is it. If they do lose out this very round, well, Grumpy Grapes walk out with a 7-1 victory for themselves, giving them the much needed, by the way, three-pointer. And from there on, well, we are going to be moving on to prepping for the second matchup. If not, well, Radical Rebels might just be able to stick around, but they have a very, very tall order of 5 rounds in a row that needs to be achieved to push themselves into the OT to just promise yet another chance to contest for this, to play for an upset, which at the moment looks very, very bleak.
Round is underway, and Aussie Ash again looking to be a bit of a nuisance to any defenders pushing in on the opposite side of the map right now, but ping's coming through. Grumpy Grapes well and truly aware of some of these key positionings, or the window spotted. It would have been a huge tap to the head. Serenity spots it again, and unfortunately she just can't quite connect.
Serenity a little bit lost for where the actual gunfight is happening. Couldn't really figure out where the damage was about, but that double player roam could actually be quite deadly as well if played right, but instead, well, we just witnessed the Womai of Mystique actually bail out from that position. Allura is still about, so she could really finish up that work on IQ and just completely shut Serenity down. But meanwhile, Bernabe is already out there. Cass is just fragging out. Mystique is about to run into the Nook, and that is not really working out in her favor. But 4v3 is certainly still in play. 4v2, half a round, well, pardon me, just under 2 minutes remaining, and just majority of the players of Radical Rebels, unfortunately, have been already exterminated.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as a frag's found, it's almost immediately traded back. Allura down below does have a nitro cell, could maybe look to make a play off it. The drone, we could see it on the stairs, should see her. No, oh no, the sneak play from Cass. She had an idea, an inkling that there was someone there, leaves it down to 0. No chance, Novawick with the crisp headshot around the corner. They knew exactly where the final player was going to be, and that was on the site. Unfortunately, didn't even get a chance to see her killer in that situation. Grumpy Grapes take a commanding 7-1. They're looking to set themselves up for that playoffs run.
3-pointer is exactly what Grumpy Grapes wanted here, and sure, they got it. A phenomenal, stunning performance from that team. Unfortunately for RDC,